Manhwa starts with a man named Kim Woo-jin, creating a game character who dies by the hands of his fiancée. Then a lady enters the room where our MC was and asks about the progression of the game. The lady was the team leader of the game development team and also our MC Woo-jin's ex-girlfriend. After some time, she leaves with her recent boyfriend. Then our MC, just to pass time, adds some powers to the game character named 𝗛𝘀𝘁𝗴𝘀, and suddenly a message comes from the writer of the game to look outside the window. When Woo-jin looks outside, there was a massive hole in the sky which pulls him inside and transports to another world. But death was not the end. Kim Woo-jin, our main character, awakes in a whole different world in his youth, with all memories of his past life intact. He sees the world as same as the game he created, and now he is in the body of the villain, 𝗛𝘀𝘁𝗴𝘀 von Grahan-Ukleen, who was fated to be killed. After some time, he then accepted his fate, also started preparing to survive. As the character was a professor in the Imperial Academy, he began to get dressed up for his lecture. Then, he enters the university and introduces himself and begins the lecture. Meanwhile, a lady student gazes at him with anger and says, "At last we meet, the enemy of my father." The lady's name was 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀, whose father was a researcher and his thesis was stolen by 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀, so he committed suicide, which led 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 to be an orphan and suffer many harsh things. So as the lecture continued, everyone was amazed by our MC's amazing lecture, except 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀, who was only focused on exposing our 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀's truth. After the lecture ends, our MC meets a lady named Julie von der Freyden, who is a knight and also our MC's fiancée, who also seems to hate him very much. Then on his way to his office, he bumps into his assistant and gets a list of sponsorship for that year's new mages. While watching the list, one name shined in gold because of his ability, sharp eyesight, and wealth magnate, which meant that this name will bring in tons of money. And the name which shined bright was 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀, who hates our MC. But even though she thinks him as her enemy, he gives the sponsorship to her for his future plans, and also to vent the anger of her a bit. Then he starts to think that the only way for him, who has countless enemies, to survive is to become stronger. So he checks all his attributes to increase his power and learns how to manipulate objects and creates a mana circle in his body. Then after a month in a lecture, 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 gives the students an outdoor test where a girl named Sylvia von Josephine Elaide disrespectfully bumps into 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀. Feeling disrespected, 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 started remembering that the house Elaide once attacked 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀's father cause of his potential growth. Then after a bit cause of mana interference between Sylvia and 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀, they started fighting between themselves, which caused a fatal moment of life and death. Then 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 comes and prevents the situation from worst-case scenario. Then both 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 and Sylvia was called for a disciplinary committee meeting where various professors judges their punishment, including 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀. As Sylvia was from a named noble family and 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 was from a fallen noble family, everyone just blamed 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 without listening about the incident. But 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 starts defending 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 and started questioning Sylvia, which shocked 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 and everyone, but it ended with a peace pact between them. After some days, he went to a party where he meets a lady named Ganesa, who advises 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 to change his lifestyle, while in return, 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 answers, "I already changed it." After the party, 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 understood that his body can't hold his power, so he started training more. Then suddenly a letter came from the Magic Tower for an audit hearing in 6 months regarding the research our MC 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 was doing. So our MC went to the research room for any information about the research so he can stay as a professor. So he opened the lab and found a book about research of 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 and 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝑀's father, and by using his ability, he comprehends the book. There he also saw 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝑀's picture, so feeling guilty, he decided to keep 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝑀's father as the co-author of the research. Then on the way to the academy, 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 bumps into 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀, where she courageously asks him to give permission for opening a club for common people, which 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 signs easily, although 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 was having a mixed feeling about it, as to why 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 is being nice to her, but after some time she was overjoyed. Meanwhile in the class, 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 teaches them combining magic, which was new to everyone. Even the genius student Sylvia, who was always bored with class, was surprised and excited. As a reminder, Sylvia is the one who had a quarrel with 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 for bumping and insulting each other. After some days, 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 takes some money from his house to buy something in an auction for his power, which his half-sister heard and got angry, cause previous 𝗛𝘀𝘀 always wasted the money of the family. As our main character 𝗛𝘀𝘀 reaches the auction house, he there meets his fiancée Julie. Then at the auction, 𝗛𝘀𝘀 buys almost everything, and then comes the item he truly wants, the snowflare stones. As the auction goes, Julie, his fiancée, also wanted it, but 𝗛𝘀𝘀 bids the higher price, so he got the stones, which made Julie very mad at him. After the auction, while Julie thought that 𝗛𝘀𝘀 will mock her, but 𝗛𝘀𝘀 unexpectedly apologizes to her and says that he really needed the stones. This unusual behavior made Julie very shocked. After auction house, when 𝗛𝘀𝘀 comes back, home his angry half-sister named Yariel scolds and mocks him. Although Yariel starts angrily crying and screaming at 𝗛𝘀𝘀, but at that 𝗛𝘀𝘀 offers her the head position of household, which makes Yariel shocked at first, but after confirming it through papers, she became happy. Then suddenly Ganesha, whom 𝗛𝘀𝘀 met at the party, appears at the window saying, "You really changed. But do you know that Yariel doesn't even share a drop of blood with you? She isn't even a half-sister, she is just adopted." Although 𝗛𝘀𝘀 was shocked at first by the truth, but it doesn't matter now, as inside 𝗛𝘀𝘀, it's our Kim Woo-jin. Then shocked Ganesha leaves after giving information that a criminal organization named Six Snakehead has started moving. The next at night in Academy, while Ephraim and her friends were eating food outside, they hear someone screaming for help. So Ephraim runs over and sees that 𝗛𝘀𝘀 just attacked the one screaming. Then furious, Ephraim starts shouting at 𝗛𝘀𝘀, but 𝗛𝘀𝘀 tells her that it's an illusion and it is Monster who is shouting, so he sends Ephraim somewhere, starts fighting the monster. In the end, 𝗛𝘀𝘀 defeats it easily. The next morning in class, 𝗛𝘀𝘀 assigns a task for everyone, which Sylvia the genius student completes easily, which demotivates Ephraim as her rival. After some time, everyone ended the task except Ephraim. While she was about to give up, 𝗛𝘀𝘀 motivates her by taunting that he is disappointed, which makes her angry, so she completed the task with good performance all night. After our MC comes out of the academy to leave at night, he sees someone is waiting for him, and that someone is the older brother of his fiancée Julie, named 𝗛𝘀𝘀, who is also the head of Frightens family. Then 𝗛𝘀𝘀 says he's here to invite our MC 𝗛𝘀𝘀 to a family dinner so the quarrel between Julie and him might stop. Although it sounded like a request, but 𝗛𝘀𝘀 fully understood that it's an order. Also, 𝗛𝘀𝘀 is way more powerful than 𝗛𝘀𝘀 for now, even stronger than Ganesha, who said to kill people with just a strand of her hair. On the other side, Julie, hearing about the dinner, gets angry, saying that she hates 𝗛𝘀𝘀, so why would she have a dinner with him? Even though she had to agree to attend the dinner because of his older brother 𝗛𝘀𝘀, who became furious of Julie's refusal to attend. Then we see a knight who works under Julie bad-mouthing 𝗛𝘀𝘀 and thinking to himself that he needs to kill 𝗛𝘀𝘀 for Julie to be at peace. Meanwhile, we see our 𝗛𝘀𝘀 using his comprehension ability to comprehend the snowflame stone bought at auction, which increases his power a bit. Then the night comes for the dinner. 𝗛𝘀𝘀 arrives at House Freyden and enters the dining hall, where he was stunned by the beauty of his fiancée Julie. Even I was stunned. Then at the table, he notices another dangerous lady named Josephine, who is Julie's sister and also a sociopath. Then comes the main topic, the talk about 𝗛𝘀𝘀 and Julie's marriage. When the family head 𝗛𝘀𝘀 asks about 𝗛𝘀𝘀's opinion about this, 𝗛𝘀𝘀 simply answers that the decision is in Julie's hands. If she wants, the marriage will occur. If not, then the marriage will be nulled. Hearing this, Julie asks his brother 𝗛𝘀𝘀 to give them a chance to talk in private. Then in privacy, 𝗛𝘀𝘀 and Julie starts their conversation. Meanwhile, Julie's dangerous sister Josephine hears from outside, which 𝗛𝘀𝘀 sensed easily, so he knew that a wrong word could cause him death. On the other side, Julie starts angrily accusing 𝗛𝘀𝘀 of all the things he had done to her, all the rumors he spread about her. But suddenly 𝗛𝘀𝘀 accepts all his mistakes and apologizes, which shocks Julie. Couldn't believing what he said, Julie asks, "What are planning now? 𝗛𝘀𝘀, are you trying to win me over by apologizing?" But 𝗛𝘀𝘀 says, "I am not." He says, "Julie, we have come too far to break the engagement. But if you want, you can just do the engagement but not marry me. But instead just show me your happy face once a month." Hearing this, Julie was flustered and embarrassed. Even Julie's sister, who was hearing from outside, was embarrassed. But after hearing this, she felt a relief, and 𝗛𝘀𝘁 also avoided a death variable. After the dinner, 𝗛𝘀𝘁 leaves House Frightens and visits a cemetery where he stands before a tomb and says, "Here lies the memories of mine, not 𝗛𝘀𝘁𝘁's, but Kim Woo-jin's." And in the tomb there was a name written, which Kim Woo-jin's fiancée, Yu-ara. While creating the game, Yu-ara said that there is a ex-fiancée of 𝗛𝘀𝘁 before Jolly in the game who died, and her name should be Yu-ara, although Kim Woo-jin couldn't understand why would she leave her name on a dead character. But he had no choice but do it, cause Yu-ara was the team leader. Meanwhile, watching the tomb brings Kim Woo-jin's memories back, so he started crying. That was the first time we see 𝗛𝘀𝘁 cry, although inside it was Kim Woo-jin in 𝗛𝘀𝘁's body. Meanwhile, someone sees 𝗛𝘀𝘁 there and says, "I finally see you, you filthy mage." Then while 𝗛𝘀𝘁 was coming out, he sees that man and says a familiar face. The man who watching him now stands in front of him angrily, and his name is 𝗛𝘀𝘁. 𝗛𝘀𝘁 is known as Mage Killer because of his attribute Magic Nullification, which is a cheat ability. Meanwhile, 𝗛𝘀𝘁 starts attacking 𝗛𝘀𝘁, as 𝗛𝘀𝘁 knew that magic won't work on him, so he used physical ability with his Iron Body attribute, which made it easy to win against 𝗛𝘀𝘁. After some exchanges, 𝗛𝘀𝘁 lost but continued to curse all the mages, not only 𝗛𝘀𝘁. Then suddenly 𝗛𝘀𝘁 says, "𝗛𝘀𝘁, you are of the Red Film race, which is also known as the Blood Shroud race. This race is an opposite of mages. They are said to be born in blood and are descendants of demons, so mages hunts them. But when 𝗛𝘀𝘁 starts pitying him and spares him, 𝗛𝘀𝘁 just gets angry, thinking he is mocking him. But 𝗛𝘀𝘁 says when a 𝗛𝘀𝘁 family bloodline, which is the bloodline of 𝗛𝘀𝘁, meets a demon, their instinct takes over to kill the demon. But I did not lose my composure or dignity, so you are not a demon." Then next day, 𝗛𝘀𝘁's half-sister brings him a letter which say about a meeting in some days in a place called Birch. And the letter also suggests that only one guard with the person is allowed. So for a guard, 𝗛𝘀𝘁 takes help from his fiancée Julie, because they are full of knights. At first, nobody wanted the commission, but a knight named Veron, who works under Julie, accepted it after hearing that it is to guard 𝗛𝘀𝘁. Veron is the same man who planned to kill 𝗛𝘀𝘁 for Julie. Then on the day when 𝗛𝘀𝘁 was about to leave for Birch on a train, we see Julie and her knight Veron waits for 𝗛𝘀𝘁. Then 𝗛𝘀𝘁 arrives at the station with his assistant and meets Julie and her knight Veron. At first, Julie was embarrassed to see 𝗛𝘀𝘁 because of what happened at the family dinner, and then 𝗛𝘀𝘁, his assistant, and Veron gets on the train. Meanwhile, Julie smiles awkwardly at 𝗛𝘀𝘁 because 𝗛𝘀𝘁 asked her to smile once a month at him at the family dinner, although the smile was hilarious. Then as the train went on, 𝗛𝘀𝘁 was checking if everything was right, because 𝗛𝘀𝘁 knew that on the meeting at Birch, only mages are allowed to participate, so while traveling, many enemies of mages will attack them. After some time, the peaceful trains, one apartment suddenly blasted. Then we see 𝗛𝘀𝘁 uses his telekinesis to lift the whole train so the train doesn't fall from the bridge. The scene was epic. Then 𝗛𝘀𝘁 asks Veron to take his assistant out of the train and fights the attackers alone. As 𝗛𝘀𝘁 was prepared, he defeated them, but it drained most of his mana. Then suddenly Veron comes back to the train and says, "Thank God you are alive, because I have to kill you myself." Then 𝗛𝘀𝘁 understood that Veron is here to kill him, so he asked Veron, "Are you doing this because someone ordered it, or cause of Jolly?" The moment he hears Jolly's name, Veron attacked 𝗛𝘀𝘁. On the other side, we see at a room of Birch, where the meeting is to be held, Sylvia and her father is there. For a reminder, Sylvia was the student of 𝗛𝘀𝘁 who had a fight with Ephraim. On the day when 𝗛𝘀𝘁 visited the cemetery, Sylvia was there to visit her mother's tomb, but also saw 𝗛𝘀𝘁 crying. Since that day, she was thinking about 𝗛𝘀𝘁, as she also knew that a journey to Birch would be dangerous. So to check on 𝗛𝘀𝘁, Sylvia uses a magic to create a spirit of a bird, which lets her see what the bird sees, and sends the bird to the train where 𝗛𝘀𝘁𝗀 is supposed to be. Then we see the fight between 𝗛𝘀𝘁𝗀 and Veron. 𝗛𝘀𝘁𝘀 attacks him by throwing metals by using telekinesis, but Veron blocks then with 𝗛𝘀𝘁𝗀's key armor, and also as 𝗛𝘀𝘁𝘀𝘀's mana was nearing its end. It didn't had enough power, so Veron then attacks him with his sword. But 𝗛𝘀𝘁𝘀𝘀 doesn't back down. He resists his attacks. But after some time as 𝗛𝘀𝘁𝘀𝘀's mana ended, he was defeated. So as Veron was about to pierce 𝗛𝘀𝘁𝘀𝘀's heart with sword, suddenly someone uses space magic which instantly cuts Veron's hand. As the hand fell down, 𝗛𝘀𝘁𝘀𝘀 was also shocked, but he instantly took advantage of the situation and pushed Veron out of the train. As Veron was about to fall, he took out a dagger and held onto it with the train, while his whole body was hanging in air. Then 𝗛𝘀𝘁𝘀𝘀 stood in front of him and said that he will never ever again cause Jelly pain. So let's forget about all those things and start again. But Veron disagrees and says, I will have to kill you myself, and attacks while hanging. Seeing this, 𝗛𝘀𝘁𝘀𝘀𝘀 was left with no choice but to kill Veron. All this while happening, Sylvia was watching all this through her spirit bird. Then after the situation calmed down, we see a lady officer from security department comes and investigate the situation. There she sees the assistant of 𝗛𝘀𝘁𝘀𝘀𝘀, who was lying unconscious. But suddenly someone uses telepathy on the lady officer's mind and sends a message saying, Jolie's knight Veron tried to kill 𝗛𝘀𝘁𝘀𝘀𝘀 but failed and died, which shocks the officer. Then suddenly 𝗛𝘀𝘁𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 comes at the officer and asks for the time, as he was late for the meeting, and he knew that if he doesn't arrive at the given time, he will be expelled from the meeting forever. So as the lady officer was about to ask questions to 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀, she sees that 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 suddenly vanished, and the lady officer talks to herself saying, so this is the 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 you mentioned, Lockhart. For a reminder, Lockhart was the one who attacked 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 at the cemetery and also the Red Flame race. Then we see at the meeting of Birch, everyone was present except 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀, as the head archmage was calling everyone's name. Everyone gave their present except 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀. We even see Sylvia with her father present there, who was the only person worried about 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀. Then as the archmage recites 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝑁's name, and nobody answered, everyone was smiling, thinking that House Eucline, which is 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 house, will be out from the meeting. But suddenly the door opens and 𝗛𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 enters, while making his hair properly, with his hands wearing black gloves. The scene was epic.